Good evening, you're watching The Buck Stops Here and I'm Barkha Dutt. On the program this evening, well, for those who live in Kolkata, it's like they're back to the 70s. This after a cycle of violence has engulfed the state. It started with the death of a student activist affiliated to the left bloc. And then Mamata Banerjee and her finance minister were assaulted in Delhi, prompting the governor to say that the CPM should issue a public apology. The CPM says it regrets the incident, but that does not justify the spate of Trinamool attacks across the state. Is Bengal today looking at political parties where no one can claim to have the upper hand, morally at least? That's going to be our focus on The Buck Stops Here today, on a day when we talk about the politics of violence in the standoff between the Trinamool and the left. Is it back to justice that is delivered on the streets? Is it back to politics of the street? The Trinamool is going so far as to say that the protesters who assaulted the chief minister wanted to kill her. The CPM, while regretting the assault on the chief minister and the finance minister, say it's Mamata who chose a path of confrontation. The Bengal governor has come out on the side of the Bengal chief minister, saying that the CPM must issue a public apology. So clearly, for those looking for Parivartan in Bengal, there has been no significant change. Instead, it's a state gripped by the politics of violence.
The left and the Trinamool at war, from West Bengal to New Delhi, the cycle of political violence. Trinamool workers attacked and ransacked CPM and left party offices across West Bengal.
I'm at an office at Kusum Kanon in South Kolkata's Jadavpur area, and here is what alleged Trinamool workers have done to this CPM office.
Trinamool workers are agitated after West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and Finance Minister Amit Mitra were heckled and manhandled by the CPM student wing activists in New Delhi, protesting against the death of their comrade in Kolkata. 62-year-old Mitra was pushed, assaulted, his kurta torn by protesting SFI activists. After the assault, Mitra had to be admitted to hospital. Mamata complained of respiratory problems and dipping blood pressure. She cancelled all her meetings and left the capital, declaring Delhi was not safe.
डॉक्टर आया था एडमिट करने के लिए बोला था, लेकिन मैंने नहीं किया इसके लिए. फिर आएंगे, लेकिन दिल्ली is not safe.
Her party men held protests in West Bengal as well as the national capital.
They have lost the faith of the people of Bengal. They've lost every election. The only way they can hope to get any kind of foothold is to finish and kill Mamata Banerjee.
The West Bengal governor M.K. Narayanan termed the assault unprecedented, calling it a blot on democracy. The CPM hit back at the Trinamool, saying the chief minister deliberately confronted protesters even when she was asked by security officials to use another gate.
This delegation was asked to go through another gate, but they deliberately chose to want, and I'm sure that was intention was that to have a confrontation.
The left parties also blamed the Trinamool for unleashing violence on its cadre in West Bengal. The recent spate of political clashes was triggered after a CPM students wing activist died in police custody after being arrested during a student protest. To make matters worse, Mamata Banerjee termed 21-year-old Shudipta Gupta's death as a petty incident.
Gupta's family needed judiciary probe into
That already postmortem report is a small matter, petty matter.
The CPM has been demanding a judicial probe into the student leader's death. Clashes between rival political groups are a norm in West Bengal. While the left front never hesitated in engaging political rivals on the street, things have not changed much under Trinamool rule. Whether it's college campuses, towns or villages, political violence goes on unabated. Is this the return of street politics in West Bengal? So much for Mamata's promise of Poriborton. NDTV Bureau Report.
All right, so are we looking at no joy in the city of Kolkata? Instead, are we looking at deja vu, a hark back to the street politics of the 60s and 70s? Before we introduce our panel this evening, earlier in the day, I spoke to CPM senior leader Sitaram Yechuri on a day when the governor has said that the CPM must issue a public apology. Mr. Yechuri, your press statements today indicate that your party believes that what happened with Mamata Banerjee and Amit Mitra outside the Planning Commission in the National Capital, the assault on them by student leaders affiliated to your party, is wrong. You regret it, yet you've stopped short of an apology. You've stopped short of taking responsibility for it. Can you set the record straight? Do you take responsibility for what happened outside the Planning Commission as a party or not?
Of course, you see, we have said very clearly that we disapprove and condemn the altercations that took place between the Finance Minister and some other people in the demonstration, and we will look into the matter. What else does it mean except other than taking responsibility? And this is something which is not, I repeat, is the practice as far as we are concerned when we organize demonstrations, which is a legitimate exercise of an elementary democratic right in our country.
But you also simultaneously made the argument that Mamata Banerjee in a sense was looking for confrontation. You raised questions about why she did not take a different exit to avoid the crowd. When you say she was looking for confrontation, in a sense, are you not blaming her and her colleague Amit Mitra for what happened to them?
You see, we are not saying that. It was the Delhi police that had put out, and which the media reported, saying that since a demonstration is taking place in front of gate number 1, they had locked up that gate, and they had said that they will provide a police escort and that the Chief Minister should enter through the VIP gate, which is a separate gate in the Planning Commission. But why the Chief Minister chose not to do that, and why the Chief Minister chose to come only to gate number 1, now these are the questions that they will have to answer, or from which you can draw surmises. And you know, Barkar, the number of times in the Parliament, when we go to attend the Parliament session, our staff, our staff there, our watch and ward staff, they tell us, sir, today you take this gate. None of us question, when we don't know why they are saying it, but there may be some reasons, obviously. But these are followed, these are normally followed by anybody, any public servant in our country, in the interest of the security of our country. Why this was not followed is something the Chief Minister herself has to answer.
The Governor of West Bengal has called the assault on Mamata Banerjee and Amit Mitra, Sitaram Yechuri, a shocking premeditated assault. Those were the words he used, and the suggestion there clearly is that this was not a protest by student activists that suddenly went out of control, as you seem to be suggesting, but a completely planned assault, one for which he believes that your party should issue a public apology. Are you ready to do that?
I think it is preposterous. I don't know from where this information has come. And as a senior and veteran police officer, he would know if such an intelligence has come, then let it be inquired into. The whole incident is on record in the ICTV which the Delhi police has there. Let that be made public. And I would challenge, let that be made public, and you would say there is nothing that was done to the Chief Minister. The closed gate was opened and she was allowed to go through into the Planning Commission. Why the Finance Minister didn't follow her, nobody knows. But since he did not follow her, he was taken through another gate, and it was in that process. You know the Planning Commission in Delhi, and when you go through one side of it, the gate number 1 is entirely blocked out of vision, and that time when he was being taken there, this incident happened with him. So there is no question of any assault, no question of any premeditation. I mean, I really do not know, but how these, after all, he is the Honorable Governor and is a constitutional authority, and I wish at least a degree or an element of such remorse and indignation would have come over the death of a student protesting and the death in judicial custody.
Are you then accusing the Governor of political bias?
I am not, but I'm pointing out the difference. I'm pointing out a difference that's in public domain. Pradipta Gupta's death under judicial custody is under police custody. Asking for a judicial inquiry is a perfectly legitimate demand and the only recourse. That how did a young spark die like this? Now on that there is no indignation or remorse, and on this there is the statement. I mean, both are these in public domain and both can be compared.
But is it your argument that because of what happened to the SFI student, that street justice, that lumpenism is now going to be the language of expression, and that now this matter is going to be settled on the street somehow between you and Mamata Banerjee's party?
Certainly not. It should not express itself in this manner at all. And I think the completely disproportionate manner in which the attacks are taking place in Bengal, and you see that on your screens, you see that footage, you see the number of people who have been attacked. For heaven's sake, the Baker Laboratory, where C.V. Raman worked, and where I mean, we had a scientist getting a Nobel laureate, a Nobel Prize. I mean, why destroy that laboratory, for heaven's sake? Tell me, what is happening? I mean, this is complete license to anarchy and loot that is taking place in the state now. Is that the response to this? When we have said that we disapprove, we condemn, and we are looking into the matter of which one of our cadre is involved in this.
So will
and we are also requesting the Delhi police, give us the footage so that you will be able to identify what really happened.
Will you be taking action once you examine that footage against those who are responsible for the assault on Mamata Banerjee and Amit Mitra?
Of course, of course. I mean, otherwise, why would we look into the matter? It's only to take action. I mean, depending on what and who has done what.
Who do you blame, Sitaram Yechury, for what we are seeing in Bengal today? Because obviously, to people watching, neither of you come out very well.
Well, it's not an impasse sort of a situation. You see, you understand one thing. A young student, 22-year-old student, dying in police custody, where the post-mortem report shows that it was not an accident, but it was actually, I would say, murdered. Now, on that, a legitimate demand saying, let there be a judicial inquiry into it, that is not accepted. The Chief Minister goes around saying it's a pity matter, and then there is natural indignation. But that indignation can come out in democratic protest, but not like what happened in front of the Planning Commission, and that is something we don't accept. But you understand the overall situation of this sort of things which are coming up in Bengal, which have not happened since the decade of the early parts of the 1970s. Now that is what is happening. It is not something between the two parties. What is happening is a situation is being allowed to slide to disaster, and that is a disaster which Bengal witnessed during the 60s and 70s. That fortunately for the last 3 decades or so did not go to those levels, but if you allow that to slide now, it is going to be very, very tragic.
All right, Sitaram Yechury, thanks for talking to us. On the buck stops here to our panel now, and we're asking who is responsible for this, in a sense, the politics of violence that have erupted and engulfed the state of Bengal. Who can capture the moral narrative, as it were, if there is one? What is happening? Is it that Mamata Banerjee is losing grip over Bengal? Is it that the dreams for change have been squandered away so soon? Is there anyone who can claim political advantage in this mess? There's clearly no joy in the city of Kolkata tonight. Let's introduce our panel. Joining us from Kolkata is Derek O'Brien, Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament of the Trinamool Congress. Also joining us tonight is Hanan Molad, Central Committee Member of the CPM. With us in the studio, Swapan Das Gupta, senior journalist and commentator. Also with us in the studio, Monabina Gupta, the author of Didi, a political biography. And earlier speaking to us with her comments was Aparna Sen, filmmaker and director. Derek, I'd like to start with you. It's only fair, since Sitaram Yechury had many things to say about the slide in Bengal. Now, we saw you protesting today along with many Trinamool workers. The CPM today is saying that 500 of their offices have been attacked everywhere, and the Trinamool was calling it a peaceful protest. You even went to the extent of saying that protesters wanted to kill Mamata Banerjee. Do you not think that this kind of hyperbole is only going to inflame an already inflammable situation?
No, first, Barkha, I'm a little disappointed that you've given Sitaram Yechury 8 minutes on your program at the top of the show to spread lies, to talk nonsense, and to talk further away from the truth. And you spoke about changing the narrative. What on earth was this wolf in sheep's clothing pretending to sit in Delhi and this was deceit.
Which part
What
is
was
deceit?
he talking about?
Which part is deceit? You have to be specific.
No, I will tell you.
Yeah, which part? Be specific.
Barkha, you have to give me. If I respect that you have a panel here. I respect that you have a panel. But since Sitaram Yechuri has spoken for 7 minutes in a monologue against the Trinamool Congress, I think you need to give me a little time to set it up before starting the debate.
Please go ahead. I'm asking you specifically what is the point you're contesting?
First, I'm giving you specifically. The first point of Sitaram Yechuri I'm contesting because he's sitting there like an angel. He's got blood on his hands of 34 years. There were 54,000 political deaths. First 54,000 political deaths in Bengal in 34 years. Last year there were 11. Out of those 11, 6 killed were Trinamool. 1. Number 2, for 34 years, this Sitaram Yechuri, pretending to be an angel, ran state-sponsored terrorism. When they called a Bandh in Bengal, they ran it like the communists. This SFI he was talking about, all SFI and this dirty student politics, which is Bengal has a history of student politics. Presidency University he was talking about. Presidency University, Mamata Banerjee is trying to make it into a crown jewel. He's talking about a murderer of a boy. They are doing cheap politics. Such a sad thing that this boy died through what looks like an accident. Barkha, the problem is, you use the word moral narrative. That's a good thought. The narrative yesterday the people of India saw. We did not go on to a single channel because the visuals did the talking.